Hey guys, welcome back to Dmac Kustoms on the YouTube. Dave here in the garage, Area 51 as usual. Essentially that's what this channel's about, is me working on this car and doing stuff multiple times. But this week we're going to be having a look at what kind of audio system I'm going to be putting in it when we get that far. We've got a little bit of kind of pre-prep stuff to do because it's going to be mounted in here. Okay, so since what am I doing in here? I can't remember. Since I already kind of got the console out and was dialing in my control panel and stuff last week for the air ride and managed to cook my air ride gauge, but got the control panel working, so that's all good. So that's all ready to go in when the console is all painted and stuff like that, and is currently just hanging from a zip tie over there. I thought I might as well get the stereo, that's what I was going to do in this cupboard, the stereo unit that I bought, which I've got buried in here somewhere. Hang on, I'll have to dig it out, and have a little bit of an experiment with that and see what it's like. It's a cheapie, but it looks good, kind of looks alright. I'll show you. Okay, so I got some stuff down here. We'll just get you situated and we'll open it up and have a look-see. Okay, so plain white box. You'll know what that means, don't you? So I bought this little unit, it's a little Bluetooth unit off the internet. Been looking for a while for a kind of classic kind of looking sort of head unit, classic but with modern features, Bluetooth and things like that, and keep finding the same one. It was super cheap, it was like $30 sort of thing, and I bought one of those a while ago, played around with it, ended up putting it in that Toyota van, and it works, but it's not great. And then I found this little unit here, which has kind of got that sort of 60s 70s kind of vibe to it, you know, with the push buttons and whatnot. Now it's not like a true 50s kind of look, but it is a kind of a more older look than, say, this type of thing, you know, like your typical modern single DIN head unit. This is a JVC unit that was in my Mazda when I got it, and it works fine and stuff. They just don't have the look for a 50s car, if you know what I'm saying. And a lot of people would say, just put it in the glove box or put it under the seat and stuff like that. I don't like that, you know, because if you're driving along and you want to, you know, you can use remotes and all that kind of stuff, or drive along with your glove box open and shit and reach across and try to twiddle the knobs and things. And that's just impractical to me. So my plan is to have a little tutu around with this and see what it sounds like. Because to go along with that, I've got me some speakers. These are, I don't know what kind of wattage or anything they are. It says 120 watt. Now these are quite small. I need a knife. They're nothing flash, it's not a big name, you know, brand or anything like that, but just I wanted them for the diameter, and I bought these online as well. These actually came from Temu. Yeah, I know fellas, but I tried to buy local. Now I went to 3 shops locally and they had big audio displays. You know, these are like the automotive parts shops, and they sell, you know, car care stuff as well as parts, you know, brake parts and all that kind of shit. And they generally used to always have like a big audio sort of section, and they still had their old displays. But the guy came out and he's like, oh, just so you know, mate, we don't carry a lot of this anymore. And they really had nothing that was of any use to me size wise and stuff. So I came home defeated and kind of just went online and thought, oh, I'll I'll just buy some cheap ones. I can't remember how much these were, but they weren't very much. So I got 2 sets of these, so a set for the front and a set for the back. Not 100% sure where I'm going to put them in the car yet, but I didn't want any kind of big, you know, heavy system. I can add a sub later, but again, I don't want to have a big sub box. If anything, that'll be under the seat, like one of those little under seat things, just to give some body to the sound if it needs it, sort of thing. Often when I'm driving these, I don't really listen to the music all that much when I'm in my old cars. I do sometimes, I do in the truck. I've got a stereo system in the truck that I kind of had a little listen to when I'm usually on my own, because you've got to turn it up loud to get it past all the truck noises. So yeah, when you've got other people in there and you've got truck noises and the stereo going, it's just a cacophony of like chaos. So anyway, let's get ahead and have a look at this little unit here. I might just do a kind of quick connect into the just the wiring that's in the car, like my stereo wiring that's in the dash already, and just see what it kind of sounds like. It's got a little USB thing, and it's got a couple of these things and a green thing. Well, that's for the subwoofer, and that's the aux in and stuff. And then it's got the usual RCAs on the back, which are for subs and things like that, I think, as well. I'm not really a big audiophile when it comes to car stereos. I just like them to be loud enough and clear enough that they sound okay, you know. I do love music, by the way, but yeah, I'm not kind of one of those sort of car stereo nerds. Comes with detailed instructions, as usually you get in white box stuff, which has just got a wiring diagram and some basic instructions on how to set up the Bluetooth and crap like that. But we'll have a look at that later. So let's I guess go over to the car and have a look, see how we can kind of cobble this together and just see what if it sounds like something. Okay, so back in the car. So last week, if you remember correctly, this, you know, I was mucking around with all this stuff and managed to cook my little gauge. So that's coumarid sort of thing, and I was all bit down in the mouth and all that kind of stuff. Still am about it, but I so, like, you know, frustrated with, you know, issues with parts and things like that, and I still don't know why that gauge fried itself. It was wired as correctly as I can figure it to be, so I just don't know. But anyway, I have ordered another one. I knew I said I wasn't gonna order one straight away, but I ended up biting the bullet and I've got another one coming, so that'll be here in a couple of weeks. And I'm kind of remiss, for a posh word, to wire it in the way I had it wired in before. So I will, I think I'll wire that in like into the gauge circuit or something like that, you know. I don't know yet, but I'm probably going to have to pull all this out and pull out, you know, run back all my, you know, just be on the safe side, get rid of all my sensor wiring and things like that, just to be on the safe side and make sure it's not something within that harness. But anyway, enough about that. That's the plan for a future day. But anyway, these are my 2 wires for my head unit. So it's like the constant 12 off the battery, and one's ignition 12. So that'll be what we connect our little doohickey up. So you're going to have a closer look at this. It's got, you know, your basic wiring diagram on the back for the harness that comes with it, which is, there's 2 little plugs in there. So one's all your speakers and one's all your power and electric aerials and crap like that. I have got I did buy an aerial. I don't know where it is now. Oh, here it is. It's just one of those kind of aerials. Don't worry, it's not going on the front guard or anything like that. Not sure where I'm going to put it yet. I do want it to be out of the way somewhere. I'm just not 100% sure where it's going to go. So we will investigate that as well at some point. It may even go under the car on the chassis rail or something like that, somewhere kind of tucked up and away. I've heard of a lot of hot rodders mounting their aerials under the car, you know, for that clean look, and that's definitely an option. The other, you know, it could go up under the dash. There might be too much electrical interference up under there. I actually quite like the idea of mounting it down underneath, you know, out of the way. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, so got a little bit carried away, and I've actually, you know, kind of soldered all my wiring and stuff in. So I've got my power, my keyed power, and then my 12 volt from the battery, which is that pink wire there, and then my red one is my keyed power. Got all my speakers all kind of hooked up and a ground hooked up. I've got speakers plugged in all four corners, so I'll hit the key, put the accessory on. Yep, we're live. So now I've got to figure out how to turn it on. Oh, it's got a 4 on there. Hi.
They put to tape, sheet hard closing out another rock 40 to electric.
Okay.
So I've got Queen's the stuff.
Mode, auxiliary, Bluetooth. I don't know how to scan for Bluetooth. Oh, base, band, Bluetooth. Oh, I don't know what AF is. Hang on, I'll just open up my phone and see if it's looking for it. Oh, that's good for it. That's what you want to do. Oh. Bluetooth on. See? Bluetooth's on.
Hurry in Sunday, only at Rebel Sports. Join Kiwi Mobile today. Hey guys, welcome back to Dmac Kustoms. As promised, I was going to do a breakdown on the rooftop and other parts of the project on the Area 51. So enough. Let's just get on with it.
Okay, so this is my 51 Chevy Fleetline that I bought probably about a year ago, sort of February, March 2020. Scam Dmac, whatever you want to call it, I don't really care. And during that time, during the lockdown we had here in New Zealand, I had to take like 7 weeks off work, and so I hooked into this thing and I did my first ever roof chop. So I think it's come out quite well. Managed to get the lines in pretty good. Made a few other modifications. Okay, so it works. Seems to be alright. It's better than the last little jinky one that I bought. Sounds obviously incredibly kind of tinny and stuff like that because the speakers are just, you know, that was rattling around in the box and stuff. There's no kind of cush for the speakers. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with these speakers. These were just cheapies. They may not be the final speakers yet. Trying to decide whether to put them in the doors or in the kick panels. I know a lot of people don't like them in the doors, and if I put them in the doors, they will be subtle, like they will be, you know, not these ugly covers that come with them, like they won't be going in there. So it'll be more like punched holes in the upholstery sort of thing and then the door card to kind of let the sound out but not really see the speaker. Kick panel probably be a similar kind of vibe. I don't even know how I'm going to make kick panels yet, let alone kind of mount these little fatty speakers and that in there. In the back, I was thinking of actually putting them in that area rather than on the parcel tray, sort of kind of behind moi, you know, the people in the front, because more often than not there's people in the front. And I've noticed a lot of sort of more modern cars that do sound quite good in the stereo situation. Their rear speakers are in the doors or in the kind of passenger space, not behind your head on the parcel tray like, you know, olden times. But yeah, so that all kind of works. Now I've got to figure out how to mount it into my console. So I'll get organised with that. I think I might go and have me some lunch. I'm getting a bit hungry. Yeah, I'll get into that. Yeah, so I'll probably put these speakers away and get them out of here. I know they all work, so I won't have them kicking around in the car. Well, I suppose it matters at this point. No, I'll put them away, but I'll have some lunch first. Okay, so put all my speakers away, had some lunch, that was all good. Now I'm just taking this little doohickey thing off here that helps hold it in, because I'm going to use that to create the hole that I need. Well, not to make the hole, but to trace around sort of thing, if that'll work. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So, got myself a piece of, I think it's 5mm aluminium, which is the same as what we used on the rest of this console for that sort of thing. So these other bits I got cut on a CNC router by my friend Rhonda. She runs that pure CNC in Tauranga, and I sent her all the files and she just kind of cut them all out, and I did a little bit of finishing on them, and that's them. But this one here I'm going to kind of make by hand, because I want to make a piece to go in there to frame up my head unit, you know, my radio. There's an offset in there, right? It's kind of weird. Yeah, the face of it's offset to the back of it, which is odd. So that, I don't think it'll matter too much. But yeah, so I'm going to take some measurements. I don't know if you can see. Hang on, move some stuff. If you look down there, that actually kind of flares out that way, and I'm going to follow that profile a little bit on this particular part. So I need a ruler and a pencil and stuff like that, so I can start kind of mapping this out and get it cut out. Getting a bit of a measure on this, there's a step in there which is glasses, fingerprinty glasses. So that's 53mm. So I'm going to make my opening probably 54. Sounds very precise, all things considered. But let's have a look at that. So that's like 52 on the back. How do I want to do this? I don't really know. Hang on, I'm going to do some drawing. It's really quite hard to get an accurate measure there. 260, so 130 should be my centre. 130. Say 132. 132. That's my centre there. Should be. Should. So 130. Go there. Centre. We go maybe try and get 10mm around the outside of that, so that'll make it 78. I think that's that. That would take it right onto there. So take 10mm off of that. That's 80, that's 70. 5mm around the outside. Yeah, so we'll go 70mm, and that'll give us 5mm at the top there as well. How wide is that? Say 200. Alright, I might just cut 70mm off this to start with, and that'll kind of, I can kind of play around with it. Or I could make a template out of cardboard, but this is double handling, isn't it? Let's check this for square. It's actually all pretty good, so I can, even though I'm going to change the angles a little bit, I can still reference off that. So I'm going to go 70, and then 70. So I might put a bit of tape on that so I can see the edge when I'm trying to cut it. Okay, so just got to get the center on this. Should be 110, it's 220 wide. I had to give it an edge, a bit of a hand, and then a bit of a file as well. I kind of cut it a little bit off my line up here, just fortunately on the fat side, so I just had to do a little bit of hand machining to bring it back. So we're actually currently sitting at 71mm. Pretty evenly across the width, so it's quite a nice clean cut. It's unusual for me, but yeah, so that's going to be my starting point. Now I want to kind of bring the sides in a little bit to match the slight taper on that. I also have to cut out the inner part, which is going to be tricky. It's a bit lumpy. Okay, so that's going to go about there. Now the reason I'm kind of not taking it out as far as I could, especially when it's going to be quite close to the edges, is because of this. So I kind of want to sort of step it up. I don't know if that really makes that much sense, but that's my argument anyway. So that's got to go about there. Now I should really clamp this. 22. Doesn't seem right. We got there 22 at there. 22 at there. So it's not much I've got to take off. It's just a couple of mil off either side. It's actually a bit off center actually, measuring it this way. Yeah, it's too, that's right. So I'm just going to take a couple of mil off each side just to give me a little bit of that taper. A little bit tape on there. Alright, so that's how much I've got to take off either side. Hopefully I can do it neatly. Not quite sure what I'm going to use though. Flapper disc's probably a little aggressive. File probably too frustratingly slow. Zip disc. Why does it keep falling over? Interesting on that. Right, just going to split this down the middle. 5. So we have middle centre line. And then I've still got my centre for there. So I've just measured off the stereo and it's 52mm. I've decided to try and cut this, so that's 26 on either side. 26, 52. Still got to measure the overall length. I think I got more on the bottom than I have on the top. Doesn't matter, because I'm going to round stuff off and always trim it down. So to get through the gap there, we need, we go 180. That's 90 on either side of the centre. We go 90 to there. Let my speed square. I might drill these corners. So take that up, drill the corners. My tape gone. Keep putting it away like a good boy. Two sides. That's the hole I've got to make. Yep. Coming in about 1/8 of an inch from the corners. Punching these holes because I'm going to put a 5.5mm drill bit through there. Yep. Got that. You boy. Alright. Drill done. Okay, so got my holes drilled in there. Now let's go and get into it with the old zip disc and see if I can cut this out neatly-ish. Let's go. Hot. Okay, might just let that cool down a little bit before I try and get that centre bit out, because aluminium gets hot and just gets hot, stays hot, bees hot. Alright, the battery was dying. Ooh. Alright, might just give that a quick whiz around with the power file, get all my daggy bits off and just then see how it fits. Get my ears on. Now, just got to sharpen up my internal corners a bit. File. Okay, so I've got it fit over, but it's actually a little bit on the snug side, partly because there's this little step in here, and I initially was going to make it fit in that step, and then I thought nah, I won't, but the way it's all offset kind of makes it a bit dicky, so I will now have to open that up and get it to sit in that step. So it's going to be a little bit of, I'm going to take about a millimetre off all the way around, and closer to an 1/8 a couple of millimeters at the bottom. Not sure what it is at the sides, but it's not too bad. Sides are actually really close, so hang on, I've got to get this back off. Someone out there doing skids. Yeah, so I've got to take it out to about there to get it to sit in there, I think. Okay, so a little bit of trimming to do, so I'm going to take that out of there, and hopefully that gets us where we need to be. Okay, so she's close. Just going to take a little bit of tuning in. I think it's just on the short ends now. The main bar through the middle seems to be all good, but it's hard to tell until I get these sides done, so it'll kind of lay down over the or under the stereo properly. Pardon me. Lunches are repeating on me. Hey, get to a certain age and you know, everything starts repeating on you. Probably should have pulled this tape off earlier. Now it's all coming off in squiggly little bits, which is a pain. You heat it up with the old cutting utensils, all the glue goes all blur, mushy and crap. Right, getting there, slowly. Made a thing. Right, let's have a closer look around the right way. Oh man, she's like literally, I think, about half a millimetre short. As for which side, I'm not too sure. There's my verniers. Can probably take a bit off that side, I think. Alright, still need a bit off the bottom, I think. So that's alright. Okay, so I got it, finally got it tuned in. It's a little snug, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So you're probably thinking, why are you doing this when it's got a chrome thing in it? It's all about kind of uniformity. I've got this aluminium bezel thing going around, all the other crap on there. It's like, so this has to have it as well. That's it, that's why. But I'm still gonna have this with a couple of button heads like I've got on the rest of it. So hopefully I've got some that size. I've actually had marked my holes, which I did before, but I didn't want to drill them until I was certain I had it in the right spot, if you know what I mean. Just looking at my angles. That angle looks a bit different to that one. I might have to get a angle device onto that and just have a look. That might require a little bit more tuning in, but yeah, still got a bit more material at the top. It's not really gonna matter because I'm still gonna round these edges off a bit and round the corners to kind of make it a bit more uniform. But yeah, so I guess I can drill my holes now and check that angle. That one's got a slightly, so I've got a bit more material over here, I think, so we'll have a look. Oh man, there's not much in it, but there is ever so slightly a little bit more at this end, so man, it's going to be like tricky to actually shave that such a tiny amount off. It's literally like half a millimetre or something off the highest end. I could just notice it, so I'll give that a little bit of a tune up, then we'll drill holes. 5mm. Alright, so I've got to make a hole in here now. drill some holes for my rib nuts. Alright, so zip this, I think. Will I get it in there? Oh, might. I'll be able to do those ones, but those ones will be tricky. I'll give it a try. So everything looks like it's going to fit. Now I just got to round off my corners a bit and round off my edges and kind of clean this thing up, make it more presentable. I need something to sharpie, something small to draw around for my radiuses. Okay, so got me a 7/16 socket, which I'm going to use to radius my corners. I'll try to anyway. Not that accurate at marking out, but we'll make it work. Pilot hole for my rib nut. Smash it through. 6mm. 6. Double check. Should be right. And chuck my rib nuts in. These are a great little thing. Make sure my holes line up. Yes. Right. Does this go together? Why is it not fitting anymore? Is it shrunk? Might need my glasses on. Then it'll unshrink. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that kind of fits in there nice and snug. And then this little stereo didn't come with one of these. This was one that I had out the back from a previous application. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to use to kind of hold it in place, stop it sliding forward, so to speak. Needed a little persuading. Oh, it only goes so far. Oh no, it can go all the way. Here we go. Now I need to find a way of securing it. I might bend those little tabs down actually. See if these little tabs on the side there, will they stop it? It might do. Need a screwdriver. Okay, so normally these things here, if you've probably done this before, but I'll explain it anyway. Normally these things are kind of like a universal stereo holder in a ripper, and these little tabs are all kind of designed to be able to kind of be bent and whatnot to help hold things in the hole and whatnot. And these things here are supposed to line up with some standard application stereo. This little stereo doesn't really have anything that these want to land in immediately, so I just pushed those all in, those four corner things, so hopefully that'll sort of stop it wanting to move around too much. But anyway, we'll put it in. Okay. Hopefully it goes in with that. Of course not. Okay, so it doesn't want to go in. How far out is it? Okay, I need my pencil again for this thing when I cut out the hole. Not far off. I see. Okay. Okay, so I just need to open it up by about that much. Okay, I think I've got it all dialed now. Oh, look at that. Did I find an Allen key for this? Sure, I brought an Allen key out. I probably blew it away with the air gun. Here it is. Oh, look at that. Hey? Not bad for, I think it was, I want to say about 75 New Zealand dollars plus shipping, so maybe about $100. I bought this off AliExpress, by the way. I forgot to mention earlier in the video. It's the only kind of real budget retro looking car stereo I've seen. I don't know whether they're fairly new. Like I was saying, all the other ones I've seen are kind of like this, and they're kind of not really very good. This one, I don't know, it's probably not a great stereo sort of thing. It sounded a bit tinny in the car, but then the car is like a tin can anyway at the moment, so anything is going to sound tinny in there. But with my little surround, and once this console's all painted up and whatnot, it should look significantly different. Like, I think it looks quite good, quite period. It's obviously a bit more new tech and what they call it, retro something. I don't even mind Resto Modi. But yeah, that'll kind of look like a kind of period, although it's, like I said earlier, it's kind of more 60s, 70s looking than 50s, but it's the kind of closest thing I could find to what I was looking for, other than going for the, is it retro sound? I think they do really cool kind of modular units and then model specific stuff. But they wouldn't ship here to me in New Zealand. I had to kind of go through a third party, and then by the time I stopped dicking around with buying other parts and stuff like that, the exchange rate had gone through the floor and shipping had gone through the roof. So I thought, oh, I'll leave it for now and see what happens, and then nothing's really changed in the last couple of years. So I was going down the kind of Google rabbit hole looking for kind of retro looking stereos, and I found that unit on AliExpress. And yeah, I mean, even if I never listened to it, it kind of looks the part. I did think about trying to find an old like an old car stereo sort of thing, like a real 50s 60s car stereo, radio sort of thing, and getting it kind of gutted, and you can get them gutted and new components and that put into them. There's a guy here in New Zealand who does it, and I think, as far as I know, he does a really nice job of them and stuff. Yeah, if I already had the car and it didn't have a stereo, like I hadn't done everything else, I'd probably go, I need a stereo for my car, I'm going to do this and spend $1,500 on a head unit. I'd probably do that, but I've spent a lot of money on this car, even trying to do a budget kind of build. I've spent a lot of money 2 or 3 times. That's how you end up in high figures, and I'm not keeping track, by the way. And yeah, so you can kind of easily spiral out of control on a build like this. And a little thing like your head unit, in this day and age, you can get really good quality like stereo head units for a couple of $100. Yeah, you can spend a couple of $1,000 if you want, but man, I've had some kind of like $200-300 head units, and they've been mint. And so I kind of figured I'll give one of those a try. It looks the part, like I said. If I never use it, it doesn't really matter. It fills that gap, and it looks like, it will look like it's supposed to be there. It'll look like it's supposed to be there more than air ride switches are. Which brings me to another point. I was thinking of maybe changing those switches to like a, the power switch I put on, kind of that momentary type switch, but a toggle switch, because they're chrome and they just kind of look a little bit more 50s tech, not plasticky. So may do that yet. I may remake that panel, but I'll do it in such a way it's just pull the panel out, unplug everything, plug all the new stuff in, and it's away. Like all the hard yards is done. Other than I'm going to remake that blue cable that runs up the back that I keep breaking the wires on. Yeah, I've got some cable coming to replace that. So I'll be making a new one of those. But that'll just be, I kind of know what I'm doing with that now. So it's just kind of remaking what I've done. My mock-up worked, But yeah, so there we have it. Happy with that. Okay, so as I said, I'm happy with that. I like the way it looks. I think I might sort of keep an eye out for one of those under-seat sub-units, since it's got a sub-output on it. I don't really know how they're all wired in and shit, other than stealing the cables for some out of my little Mazda. But I'll keep an eye out anyway. They're like little wee units, and they just kind of sit under the seat, and you just run your sort of sub-harness cable thing for something. I don't know how it works, but I think they have their own power supply maybe. But that's I'll keep an eye out if anything kind of comes my way, or if I feel so inclined, I might do a little bit of investigating. But I might not. I might just get the interior done, do all of that sort of stuff, and then just see how it sounds like. And if it sounds all good, then we'll leave it at that. But yeah, so AliExpress, like I say, if I can find it, I'll try and find it and put a link in the description or something if I remember. If not, if you want to know, hit me up in the comments and I'll try and find it and chuck a comment in with a link or something like that. But yeah, I think it was just like I was just Google searching like retro car stereo or retro looking or vintage looking car stereo, and that came up like on the shopping thing, and I was thinking, oh, AliExpress, another one of those websites I've had little issues with before, but the last couple of purchases I've made on there have actually been pretty good, and shipping was good and timing was good and all that kind of stuff. Not bad, it works. It's probably the first weekend or work on the old Area 51 in quite some time where everything's kind of gone to plan. Knock on wood. I want to jinx it now. I'll probably take it out and drop it on the ground. But yeah, so I hooked everything up. It worked first go around, didn't blow any fuses, no smoke came out of anything, and so that was quite exciting. And then, you know, my install went well. It actually even looks relatively square in the hole. Maybe it was just a fluke that I got it kind of visually in the right spot. But yeah, so I'm going to take this back out now and put it away. But yeah, on the whole, pretty stoked with that. So that's where we're going to leave this video. So as always, don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, like, share, comment. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Don't forget we've got the Instagram and the Facebook for Dmac Kustoms, and we also have dmackustoms.com for all your awesome Dmac Kustoms merch, which is some stuff about the bomb truck. There's a t-shirt design on there which I quite like, and hats, hoodies, t-shirts, some Area 51 stuff. I haven't had time to do any more design prep, as I talked about last video. I think we're in the middle of relocating our studio for work, as well as got some other stuff going on, you know, home DIY stuff. I undercoated all the walls and ceiling in the bathroom this morning, so before I even started this. So I'm busy, man, just busy. It's pumping. Not really busy at work, but busy doing work stuff, busy doing home stuff, busy doing family stuff, busy doing Area 51 stereo stuff and stuff. And then, you know, got to find time to sit on my ass and have a wee dram and just stare at the wall for a bit, just let the mind calm down, you know. But yeah, happy as with that. So yeah, I'm rambling again now. So yeah, as always, thanks heaps for watching and supporting the channel, and don't forget to go and buy some t-shirts, quality merch on dmackustoms.com. links in the bio, links in the description. Know what I'm saying? There's links all over the place. There's even a shop on the channel homepage. Yeah, anyway, till next time, take it easy and peace. You gotta pump your merch and that. No one else is gonna do it for you. So don't know what we're doing next week though, but we'll find something.